We all set massive, massive goals for things that we want to accomplish, and we spend most of our time measuring our lives against how well we've done at accomplishing what we want to. And for so many of us, that means that we're tracking a lot of failures, because that's what happens. That's how you make progress. When you're working on things you've never done before, it takes time to be able to do them the right way. We can be really tough on ourselves, and we can grade our lives as though we have already failed when life isn't done yet. There is still so much more to come. On average, about 20% of us set goals on a regular basis. About 80% of those goals never get hit. And that's just the average statistic. In 2014, there was a study done in order to track the New Year's resolutions that were made. 8% of people who made a New Year's resolution succeeded at hitting it. There was a study done in Forbes magazine called Hire for Attitude. It was a study done by Mark Murphy and his company Leadership IQ. What the study showed was that they tracked 20,000 new hires, and in the first 18 months on the job, 46% of them failed at their job. The interesting statistic is that only 11% of them failed because of a lack of skill. 89% failed because of something to do with attitude. So we do need to learn how to have more influence. That statistic does not show that we all have bad attitudes. That statistic shows that we deal with a ton of challenge. We're faced with a lot of stressful scenarios. The reason why we struggle is because there's reason to struggle. Today in the media, we see examples of people at extremely young ages having incredible success, but those examples are remote. That is not the normal experience for the majority, the 99% of us. But we measure ourselves against the success that we see. We measure ourselves against the success that we see that our neighbors have, that our friends have, that we see scrolling on news feeds. We measure ourselves against what we believe everybody else has been able to accomplish. We overestimate everybody else's level of happiness, and we underestimate our ability to influence our own happiness. We need to get some perspective in order to let ourselves off the hook. Invest in yourself, invest in your perspective. Find stories of other people who have succeeded. Walt Disney was so poor in his 20s that he survived by eating dog food. Sylvester Stallone was so broke in his 20s that while he was still trying to find Hollywood support for his film Rocky, he was forced to sell his dog Butt Kiss for $25. When Rocky was purchased, he bought the dog back for $3,000, and his career began to succeed at the age of 30. J.K. Rowling was 32 when the first Harry Potter book was published, and that was only after being rejected by 12 other publishers first. Harrison Ford couldn't get work as an actor, so he paid the bills as a carpenter. A lucky gig building cabinets for George Lucas led to his first role in American Graffiti, and then to the epic role of Han Solo at the age of 34. Gene Hackman was voted least likely to succeed in his acting class at age 26. 11 years later, he landed his first role at the age of 37, and he succeeded past every single person in that class since. Susie Orman became the financial guru she is today only after attempting to open her first restaurant bankrupted her. Brett Favre, who currently holds every NFL passing record in the books, had his best year ever from a statistical standpoint at the age of 40. Susan Boyle captivated the world in 2009 at the age of 48, singing a song that was 29 years old. Her performance was downloaded more than 180 million times in 3 weeks. Diana Naid dreamed of swimming the Straits of Florida since she was 8 years old. She tried 5 times unsuccessfully over the course of 35 years. On September 2nd, 2013, at the age of 64, she succeeded. She's the first person to swim from Florida to Cuba without a protective shark cage. Colonel Sanders started the KFC franchise at the age of 65. That was after years of struggling to open the franchise. And he did this because he got fired from almost every single other job he had earlier in life. Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa at the age of 76. After he'd been sentenced to life in prison in 1964 and finally was released after a long publicly supported campaign in 1970. He got married then for the 3rd time at 80 years old. And Audrey Crabtree. she finally hit her lifelong goal of getting her high school diploma. She left school 1 credit shy in 1932 due to an injury, then got married, raised children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, but always wanted to hit that goal. So at the age of 99, she finally did. It's never too late. Life will always make time for you. You just need to have the perspective that it's possible. You need to invest in that perspective. You need to invest in yourself.